Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down the most fascinating new research papers and find out what they mean for you.
Today, we're talking about a paper that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. The title is End-to-End Autonomous Scientific Discovery on a Real Optical Platform.
Which is a very science-y way of saying researchers have built an AI that can act like a real scientist, not just an assistant that helps with data, but an AI that can come up with its own ideas, run its own experiments in a real lab, and make brand new discoveries all by itself.
Exactly. For years, we've talked about AI-assisted research, where AI is a tool for humans. This paper marks a huge step towards AI-led research. The system is called the Qiaolu Discovery Engine, which is fitting because Qiaolu means seeking truth in Mandarin.
So how does this AI scientist actually work? Is it just one giant brain in a computer?
Not quite. The researchers designed it as a team of specialized AI agents that work together, kind of like a real research group. There's a lead investigator, which is like the professor who comes up with the big picture plan and sets the direction.
Okay, the big ideas person.
Then there's the method builder. This agent is the theorist. It translates the big idea into a concrete plan, figures out the math, and designs the steps of the experiment.
The details person. Got it.
After that, you have the experimentalist. This is the agent that gets its virtual hands dirty. It writes the code, controls the actual lab equipment, runs the experiment, and collects the data. And this is key. It's connected to a real physical lab with lasers, lenses, and cameras, not a simulation.
That's a huge deal. The real world is messy. Things go wrong, measurements are noisy. A simulation is clean and perfect, but a real lab is a much harder test.
Precisely. And finally, there's the most important member of any good science team, the critical reviewer. This agent is the skeptic. It looks at the results and asks, are we sure about this? Does the evidence really support this claim? Have we missed something? It tries to poke holes in the arguments to make the final conclusions stronger.
So it's an entire research lab, from the ideas to the final critique, all run by AI agents. That's incredible. So how did they test it? Did they just turn it on and see what happened?
They were very systematic. They put the Qiaolu engine through 3 challenges, each one harder than the last. The first challenge was basically a test of competence.
Like a final exam for a science student.
Kind of. They gave the AI a well-known published experiment in optics and said, here, reproduce this. The catch was that the AI had to do it on a completely different set of lab equipment. It's like telling a chef to cook a Michelin star recipe using the pots and pans from your home kitchen.
They have to adapt everything. So how did it do?
It nailed it. It figured out how to adapt the procedure to the new hardware, ran the experiment, and got the expected result. In fact, it even ran some follow-up tests on its own and found a way to make the result twice as good as the original.
Okay, so it passed its exam with flying colors. It can follow a recipe. What was the next challenge?
The second challenge was a big step up. They gave the AI a very abstract scientific theory, an idea about the physics of light that had only ever existed on paper. No one had ever actually tested it in a lab. The AI's job was to invent an experiment from scratch to see if the theory was true.
So it had to go from pure theory to a real-world physical test. That's something that can take a human graduate student weeks or even months of work.
And the Qiaolu engine did it in a few hours. It analyzed the theory, designed a whole new way to measure what was needed using its optical lab, ran the experiments, and the theory held up. It provided the first ever experimental proof for this abstract idea.
That is seriously impressive. It's not just copying work anymore. It's creating new experimental knowledge. But you said there were 3 challenges. What could possibly be harder than that?
This is where it gets really wild. For the final challenge, they didn't give it a problem to solve at all. They just gave it a broad, open-ended topic. Explore the connection between optical computing and artificial intelligence.
They basically told it, go discover something new.
That's it, and it did. The AI went to work for about 21 hours straight. It brainstormed 4 different potential research directions. It weighed the pros and cons, and then it decided to focus on one. And in that area, it proposed a completely new physical mechanism that had never been described before.
Wait, it proposed a new piece of physics?
A new physical mechanism, yes. It's called optical bilinear interaction. To put it simply, modern AIs like ChatGPT rely on a mathematical operation called attention, which lets them weigh the importance of words in a sentence. This operation is computationally expensive.
It takes a lot of computer power.
A lot. The AI scientist discovered a way to perform a core part of that calculation using light itself by cleverly mixing two laser beams together and measuring the result. It's a physical shortcut for a really complex piece of AI math.
And it didn't just propose the idea, right? It's an experimentalist.
You got it. After proposing the idea, it designed and ran a series of experiments on the optical platform to prove that its new mechanism was real and that it worked. And it did. It autonomously identified, formulated, and experimentally validated a non-trivial, previously unreported physical mechanism.
That's a discovery, a real, actual scientific discovery made by an AI from start to finish. So what does this all mean for the future of science?
The authors say this marks a potential paradigm shift from AI-assisted to AI-led scientific discovery. Imagine having teams of these AI scientists working 24/7, tackling problems in medicine, climate change, or materials science that are too complex for humans to even know where to start.
And the discovery it made could be huge in its own right. Doing AI calculations with light instead of electricity could lead to incredibly fast, energy-efficient AI hardware. The AI scientists' first discovery might be the very thing that helps create even more powerful AI scientists.
It's a fascinating thought. We might be at the very beginning of a new era where human scientists work alongside autonomous AI partners, not just as assistants, but as creative colleagues in the quest for knowledge, seeking truth together.